Our next storyteller is Davy Stevenson. She's from Portland. She's been doing Ruby for almost 6 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Davy Stevenson.
Hey, everyone. So I was inspired a little bit by James's talk to start the opening mini story within my story time, which is that people always ask me the question, is Davy your real name? And the answer is usually, no, Davy's not my legal name, and no, you won't get to know what my real name is. Because, for me, Davy is my real name. It's who I represent myself. It's, my name on the internet. And even though, people don't necessarily expect to find me when they read Davy Stevenson, I'm pretty proud of myself and my name. However, I'm telling you this story because I thought it was very interesting that out of this group of storytellers, we have two Davises. So that is my little secret to you. Not many people know about it. Keep it a secret. My favorite 200 closest friends, something like that. So anyway, thought that was interesting and coincidental. I haven't met too many other Davises. So okay, so what I'm really talking about today is team building. And the story starts out about 4 years ago when I joined Elemental Technologies as their first Ruby on Rails engineer. Elemental does video transcoding software, so they help people like Comcast make Comcast Xfinity and HBO produce HBO Go. And so if you're probably not surprised to hear that most of the engineers there are not coding Ruby, they're doing C and C++ work. But they found when trying to productize their video transcoding technology, their stack, that using Rails and a web framework to produce user interface and provide a easy REST API for automation fit really well with a sort of need of a startup to iterate quickly and develop features very quickly. So for the first 2 years, I was a team of one. I did all the Ruby on Rails work, but luckily for Elemental, they were doing really well, and so pretty soon I wasn't going to be able to keep up with all the work, and so we needed to hire. We need to hire Ruby and Rails developers, and so as we all know, that can be sometimes difficult. Over the next year and a half, we managed to pick up 3 more people, and that's about the same time that I got to move into a lead position for the team. And then management came to me and said, okay, we're doing really well. You need to double your team, and you got to do it in 6 months. And I was like, wow, that's going to be really fun. And because, this is a competitive market. There's not that many really great Ruby engineers. So, I thought to myself, we're going to have to think outside the box. And the other thing that I'm a really big proponent of when thinking about teams is that a team really needs to be diverse. It needs to be diverse on many different axes, not just kind of the standard gender, race, nationality, ethnicity stuff that people get caught up on a lot, but also on other axes, introvert versus extrovert, experience level, junior versus senior, socioeconomic background, sort of basically anything that gives someone some sort of a knowledge base or some sort of new and unique background or insight into the world, that's something that we can leverage on our team and take advantage of. That means our overall base of knowledge is broader. And so when looking to hire these new team members, I really wanted a diverse team. So I spent a lot of time on outreach. I started really reaching out to the local user groups and offering Elementals a space for them to take advantage of. You can bribe engineers with beer and pizza, and by golly, they show up. Started getting the company involved in regional conferences, like many of the sponsors are sponsoring GoGaRuCo. Open source is another great way to do this sort of outreach, and this is about giving back. This is about proving that your team, your company, is willing to give back to the community, and thus is a great place to live or work. So another thing that's, I think, really important when thinking about diversity in team building is during the hiring process. Sarah talked about the fact that when we're evaluating things, we tend to evaluate them against the things that we already know. When you're interviewing someone, that means that inherently you're going to be comparing that person against the people that you are already working with, your team. And so if you don't do something to combat this natural bias, you're going to automatically create a team that's very homogeneous. You have to expand your own mind to think about what about this other person, their uniqueness, their difference. How is that actually a benefit? How is their different background, their different way of thinking about things, how is that going to impact your team positively? Not just that they don't follow exactly your rules. And so then the next part about building a team is the team dynamics. If you are successful in building a diverse team, you're going to have a bunch of people with a lot of different personalities. And sometimes that's could breed personality conflicts and a lot of strife. And that's pretty much the opposite of having a team that's working well together. So it's really important for everyone within a team to know that they need to provide that support for all of their team members. They need to make an environment where people with less experience or who are new to the area, they have the comfort to ask those questions, to not only help them learn, but also to force yourself to be able to answer those questions. And you might learn a little bit of something about your own process or about your own product that you hadn't really thought about really in great detail. Your team needs to be a group of friends, a group of people who are going to support each other. So after the 6 months, I had successfully grown my team up to 8 other engineers, and they were a pretty diverse group of people. I was really, really happy to see that they were 33% women. That's pretty impressive. Unfortunately, and this is something that I think that all of us can work on, is the fact that within Portland in general, within our communities, it's still a sea of white faces, and that's something that I think we really should work a lot harder on to change. And then also, my team had a group span that gamut from very introverted to very extroverted people. We had someone who'd graduated from one of the dev boot camps, so she'd gone through a 12-week program to become a web developer, and she was great. She asked really great questions. We had someone who was changing their career halfway through, his mid-30s, decided he didn't want to do public policy anymore, he was going to become a programmer. And tie that with people who had moved from graphic design over into programming, along with the standard people who've gone through the standard CS degree to programming career workflow. And the rewarding thing for me was the fact that my team did get along so well, and they were really friends. They came up with Donut Fridays, where we'd all wander over and get donuts every Friday and just talk about all the sorts of stuff we wanted to fix in the code base. The other engineers in other departments expressed jealousy that their teams didn't interact in quite the same way. When you know that you have a broad base of people with different backgrounds to ask questions from, if you're having troubles, then it makes it so much easier for you to ask them to just look over your shoulder. Do you have any opinions on how I could make this code better? I know that you're a little bit better at graphic design than I am. Is there anything that you could see that I can improve? Is there a better way that I could be writing this test? Things like that. And fostering an environment where that's the norm is very important. And so, I've been talking about teams within kind of a company context. And I think that all of this can really apply to the community as a whole. Our Ruby community is one enormous team. And so I think that we should try and take into heart all of these sorts of ideas when we're trying to encourage people to join our community, stay in our community. People need to see that they are welcome within a community. And so we need to be the ones who are being as active as possible to be friendly, welcoming, open, and answer questions to everyone who's coming in. So thank you very much.